My name is Jane Cui, and I am doing my first photo book of my eye. I always loved art. When I was a little girl, I liked to draw, to paint. I was always attracted to creative works and art. You know, fate made me working in the technology industry. The attraction in terms of art is always there. I had the opportunity to pick up the camera 9 years ago by joining Leica. That changed my life. The camera and the lens is where I find my calling. I'm drawing towards taking pictures of people. People are the ones who can call to my emotions. One of the attractions of carrying a camera, you meet great people in the Leica community. The idea of publishing my book came about is during my interaction with Dr. Chow, and she is my inspiration. She's a Leica photographer and she's a doctor. She has dedicated her entire life of supporting women, doing a lot of charity work around the world. And it gave me the idea of maybe I could use my camera and the art I created to support charitable effort. The trip to Bhutan came as part of a photographic journey with Dr. Chow as well as Matthias Hen, who's a photojournalist. I always wanted to go to Bhutan. The place really moved me. I see the light in people's eyes. I see the smile on their face. Everywhere we go, people are extremely kind to us. We had a lot of opportunities to get to know these people, really interact with them, learn their life. I myself was moved by all the pictures I took. So I had this opportunity to work with Mark, dePAOLA, and Sage. To my surprise, Mark and Sage really loved my work. They thought the work is very authentic, and there's a strong sense of emotion that came through the work. This also gave me the opportunity for my first charitable work, to support Dr. Chow's Women's Foundation work. This is the beginning of my giving back to the society and giving back to the community. The foundation will be called Mulan Ventures Foundation. The modern women are like the Mulan. We wear pants and ride horses and go fight in the battles. Mulan is a perfect name to describe myself, as well as a great representation of the modern females. Majority of my effort will be supporting causes that empower and enable females in today's modern world. With the publishing of this book, and it marks the beginning of not only my journey as an artist, but it's also my journey of my way of giving back to the society. This is my son, Mark Juan. He is the love of my life. As part of the process of making this book, it's also reminded me as a parent, what do I want to leave to my children as my legacy. They need to pursue their passion, and as well as never too late to pursue your passion, but most importantly, to give back to the society and the community.
Hi, my name is Fred Taylor. I am an Australian photographer based in foggy San Francisco. I've been living in the Bay Area for the past 8 years and have been shooting for basically since I was a kid. I have a new photo book out called Daylight Savings, A Journey into the American Summertime. It's a celebration of all of the things that make the American summer so fun, so joyful, and so energetic. In particular, I'm looking for really small moments. Initially, I had never really ever planned to live in America. The news also in America was never particularly like, oh wow, I really want to move there. You know, like there's always, oh, Florida man robs a bank with an alligator or something. Life's a funny thing, and life took me over to America. Instead, I've seen a country that is actually really beautiful, very, very diverse, and just full of incredible people, incredible landscapes. And I wanted to try to bottle that up to some sort of a book. And then in particular, I really wanted to focus on the summer in America. Things that are as simple as floating. Things like Independence Day, Memorial Day, through to just going out to camp. The book is across 8 years of shots and 8 years of summer trips that I've taken throughout America, across all of the states basically. 20 plus states are included in this book. This is certainly my first rodeo in terms of coming up with a body of work. So for me, this is personally like a really, really big step. America may seem like it's a very, very divided place a lot of times, but at least from an outsider looking in, what I saw instead was a country that had a lot of very, very sort of shared and very similar rituals for summer. Whether you're in Boston, whether you're in Bozeman, going from a digital screen and then seeing it in the flesh, being able to hold it up, fold it, move it around, see it under different light and so forth. That was a really, really fascinating, really rewarding process actually. Being on press as well here at Brilliant in Pennsylvania as well has been something I've never done before. Literally taking your book and seeing sheets of it as it comes off of the press, that's as close as you can get to, for it to be real. So in terms of the book itself, we've got over 80 beautiful images saturated with color. I'm somebody who just loves color. That's in 9x12 with a beautiful cloth-bound book as well. The paper as well is also incredibly glossy. I really wanted the colors to kind of jump off the page. I wanted it to feel kind of like aspirational. I wanted it to feel like you wanted to be there, or that there was something pulling you into the image. And finally, the book is dedicated to the birth of my daughter, Cleo Taylor Haswell, my other baby, while this book was being produced. She was born on the 2nd of September, just as this book was basically going into print. Cleo, if you're watching this in 2050, hi, Daddy loves you.
I'm Rick Daigle. I'm a physician practicing in Indianapolis. I also happen to have a couple of interesting hobbies, playing piano and photographing people. My favorite people to photograph are family members who I've been photographing for almost 40 years. During the time of this photographing, there have been things that have developed into what I would call a series. One of them involves my nephew, who at age 11 got a service animal. He basically got this dog as a puppy, had him for a number of years until he prematurely died. During those 5 years, I took many photographs of the poignant relationship between a dog and a boy. My nephew was a child who was not very much expressing emotion, and he fell in love with this puppy, love at first sight, and started expressing emotions that I had never seen in him before. And he developed an incredible bond with this dog, and they were just two of a kind. And I saw his relationships with people blossom as he learned how to express himself and his emotion. When the dog died, I was asked to put together all the photographs I had taken. I began to think about doing a book. I've thought about books various times over the years and never really known what to do or how to get started. I was taking a Leica Academy class with Mark Mann, and Mark dePAOLA and Sage Backstrom walked in as surprise guests. They made a little spiel about the Leica Academy having a bookmaking masterclass. It seemed like something that could help guide me along the way to do something I had wanted to do for a long time but never really knew what to do. I did apply for the class, and I was accepted and became a part of it. And then began the work. It caused me to more honestly evaluate my work. It helped me to understand that photographs are not just individual things that stand by themselves, but they are actually things that are part of sentences that speak with each other. And I had never really appreciated that the sequencing and that the grouping of images is very important in telling a story. Mark and Sage taught me that. And I'm here at the studio today watching my book be printed, and it's such an amazing experience. My book is titled Gizmo, after the dog Gizmo. It is printed by Brilliant in a 10x10 format, hardcover, offset, black and white, and I knew nothing about any of these things until I started this class, but I'm very grateful to Mark dePAOLA and to Sage Backstrom, and also to my printer, Bob Terzak, for guiding me through and making an idea into a reality in the form of a book. I hope it reminds people of how important unconditional love is. Maybe some people will be inspired to buy their boy, a girl, a dog, and find out just how much that can affect their emotions and their expression of love.
My name is Juan Torres. I am a San Francisco Bay Area-based fine art photographer. I have been making photographs since I was a teenager, when my father lent me his M3, and soon thereafter gave me free rein with his cameras and lenses. And I'm largely self-taught, although I've spent a lot of time learning from Mark dePAOLA, Phil Penman, and others. I'm here because I'm making my first monograph, Susurros del Tiempo, Whispers of Time. It is a collection of landscape images I've made largely in the Northern California coast. These images highlight what I like to call the poetry of light, that time when light and shadow surrender to each other and create a felt sense of grace. These images speak to my photographic style. I can make an image of the light, I can make an image with the light, but I prefer to spend the time to find images that are made by the light. When I find an image that is made by the light, it becomes an expression of humanity, of what it means to feel joy, sorrow, of what it means to aspire, to fear, and to hope. These images create a sense of stillness and motion. When I am making them, I can feel my past and present converge. Time holds its breath, and in that fraction of a second, what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing become one. The process of making this book really has been informative to my photographic practice. It is one thing to make an image, it's one thing to develop it, and then the final piece is to finish it, to present it, to gift it to someone or to others. I feel more complete as a photographer, having gone through this process and going through this process, because ultimately it's the sharing of this work, the gifting of this work, whether it's to friends, family, or to others. It's what I feel on a piece of paper. The book itself is a large format book. It's 10 by 13.5 inches. It's printed on an uncoated eggshell paper. It's a gorgeous book, one that you consume with all your senses. To see my work on paper and in print, and to see it come to fruition is something that I will never ever forget.
Hi, I'm Tran, based out of San Francisco. I've been doing photography for quite a while, but my journey has really changed probably in the past 5 years or so when I took my first Leica workshop with Mark and Sage. It's been a really important journey for me. I think one of the first concepts that Mark talked about was how vision works and how the eye sees and how visual information goes through your eyes, but through the memory part of your brain before it actually goes to the part of the brain that processes the image. And another big piece of advice that Mark gave me throughout the various workshops that we worked together was, shoot what you feel, and when you feel something, shoot. And while very simple, that really was life-changing for me. And as I worked more with Mark and Sage, they got the idea of maybe you should work on a monograph. As I thought about what I feel when I shoot, why do I feel these things? What is my connection with the collaborators? Because I primarily do fine art portraiture and fashion photography. And so that kind of led me to the concept of this book, or was this curiosity that I feel to the collaborators I've been working with. Part of it is searching for their truth, and what is their story? What is my connection with them? What do we have? What's similar between us? What's different? There's this concept for the book called Ma. In the literal sense, it's the space between, or in photography, is often used as negative space. It isn't emptiness, but it's emptiness. What's the potential in that? The negative space is as important as the subject itself, but it can also be the silence between two notes, or the relationship between people, the distance, but not just from a physical distance, but an actual relationship distance. We've built this body of work that I want to put into a monograph, and for me, reflect on why I didn't want to put too much of my own personal fingerprint because I wanted to see how the audience responds to it. For me, that was really interesting, getting this 360 feedback of what resonates with other folks versus myself. See the book come together between me, Mark, and Sage, you know, the curation of the images, but also working with brilliant graphics. They brought in a lot of different techniques in bookmaking that I had no idea about, you know, from the Japanese sewing for the book binding to the various paper choices of the Hiromi pulp fiber paper. That's the inner leaf between the images, the Mohawk superfine, uncoated, you know, eggshell. Like, these are really important decisions that Bob, you know, brought to the table. And having seen it now, just the proof of it, it was really an emotional experience. I have never really printed my images out. I didn't know what to expect. This is somewhere between a book and a portfolio. I wanted to keep this, again, intimate, small, and exquisite, but also limited. We decided 25 copies of this book and then only sell about 10. I think the discussion is important not just between me and the audience, but between the audience themselves. And hopefully I can put these books in specific locations so that folks can come together to discuss and experience it. It's so much more interesting to have a conversation with someone to say, hey, take a look at this, let me know what you think. And to have that discussion flipping through a book versus like looking at your phone or looking at a computer screen. That's been really meaningful for me in the way of like, it's just yet another layer. It's making me, again, reflect even before I press the shutter button. It's emotional and I don't really have the right words for it. I'm really happy and excited to see where this goes from here.
I'm Yohei Abe. I am a Japanese photographer based out of LA. I also write. I also DJ. I am a founder and I run an artist collaborative called BULS to research contemporary art, philosophy, history, and we call it Next Human. So I have been taking photography for the past 20 or more years. Close to maybe 5 to 10 years ago, I started getting into more and more into photography, which was kind of my saying to myself, it was a commitment into this, you know, world of art. This is the best kind of decision I've made in my life. One of the most important kind of elements is meeting with Mark dePAOLA and Sage. I don't know, it has been the most kind of accelerating, most incredible kind of change that brought me more confidence and this drive to create. I'm calling it Ghost Angels and Beyond Light. It originates from my experience of losing my wife and best friend in 2021 from depression and suicide. I revisited many places that we share memories. Obviously, it is a grieving process. It is a communication, a kind of a farewell message to her. The reason why it's called Ghosts, Angels, and Beyond Light, a lot of times I kind of see these things around as I walk around, Venice, Tokyo, LA, New York, Morocco, and I feel them as friendly ghosts. The beautiful kind of friendships and people that I meet, they are kind of depicted as angels. It's beyond light because I'm kind of putting together this language to communicate to the other side, to her. I consider this a joint project, a message of love, our gratitude, this miracle that we are. I'm hoping that this work is inspiring and brings hope to all those people that see the work. So this book is a multimedia project. Of course, there's the image photography, my poetry. There's a music element. As you'll see, there's a QR code that links to my webpage. The music changes the experience. Even more interestingly, I'm trying to play with memories. This does not end. The site will go on until, I guess, until I die. And we just now, and literally this is 5 minutes ago, I'm extremely thankful and excited. So the book is an 8x10 soft cover, limited edition of 100. Yeah, this process has been, from the beginning, kind of a magical, another encounter, I think. The perfect kind of opportunity that goes beyond anything that I've ever actually imagined. working with a world-class photographer and a producer to put together a monograph of your own, that is like at a whole another level. And I think was the best opportunity that I can really think of. This will be my first monograph, and I am hoping to continue with a lot of the learning points that I've gained through this masterclass and process.